Have Monster Hunter World, which has been received incredibly well. Daniel, where have you been? You have had me worried sick. I have been calling the police. I have had no idea where you have been for the last 2 weeks up until this very moment. I happened to be sitting in front of my microphone and you just showed up.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I didn't tell you about this. I figured so you'll understand why the stealth nature of my side quest that I had to do once I tell you about it. But I'm here. I'm alive. Welcome back. And
thank goodness.
Yeah. And so, but I was on assignment. I did go on assignment last week. Are you familiar with the Oscars?
You went on assignment without me?
So let me tell you why. Okay. So I had to go into the field. Okay. Like this was
okay.
This is one of those things that only one of us could do. If there were two of us, they would know it'd be too obvious.
Okay.
You know, two people,
okay,
too
fair.
obvious. You know, that's the, in that Fast and the Furious sequel.
Yeah, I think that's the next one.
Yeah. So what I did is I went to the Oscars.
Oh my gosh.
And I tried to interview a bunch of people on the red carpet on behalf of Hubworld cast because, I said, we've had a few celebrity guests so far. Let's triple that in one episode.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah. And so I think it went really well. I recorded my my journey, and I talked to a number of wonderful celebrities here for the Oscars. And so here's what I did is I did say, hey, I'm here from Hubworld Cast, and I said I'm trying to cast for a video game movie because, as we all know, all video game movies are terrible, and so I tried to recruit a number of actors for that, and I actually think I had some pretty good results. So.
Is this for a Hubworld movie?
It could be. I didn't quite get to the title yet. It's the untitled current project, but
oh wait, I thought the title was Two People Too Obvious.
Oh, it is. That's right. Yeah. So let's run that for you and the viewers. Now this is the world premiere of my Hubworld red carpet journey. Let's take a listen.
Wonderful.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here I am at the red carpet at the 90th Academy Awards. It's quite busy. I did sneak in here. That's why it's just me, Daniel, here instead of both me and Carter. But I'm going to try to audition some actors for an unnamed movie as far as to justify my appearance here so nobody asks any questions of why I'm at the Oscars. So here we are. Let's follow along with me. Let's take a look. So there's so many people here dressed up in suits. And okay. Here's our first. I'm gonna try to get him. Owen over here.
Hi,
Owen right here. Yeah. Hey, Owen Wilson. My name is.
Hey, hi. How are you?
Oh, I'm really, really great. You look great. This is a great evening.
Wow, thanks. It's great to be here. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm here for Hubworld Hubworld podcast, and
oh, I love Hubworld. I listen to it every day.
Oh my goodness!
When I wake up.
Thank you so much, Owen. So I am auditioning really quickly for a video game movie. I'm trying to look for the next star to actually make video game movies good. Do you have any interest in that?
Oh, absolutely, man. Wow, that sounds fantastic.
Okay, awesome. So can you just audition for me right now really quickly if you were a video game character?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, let's give this a shot. Thank you, Mario. But our princess is in another castle. Wow.
Wow. Oh,
wow.
Oh, and that's so good. That's Mario? Is it the classic Mario?
Yeah. It's my old buddy, my old pal,
Oh,
Mario.
That's so good. Oh, and thank you. I know that this is a really busy evening. I'm going to write you down. I'll have my people be in touch with your people. Thank you so much, Owen Wilson.
Great to meet you, Daniel. Great show.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I just got Owen Wilson on our podcast. I can't wait to tell Carter. Wow, I'm a little starstruck. LOL, wow, no Owen Wilson pun intended. Anyways, okay, let's keep looking. Let's searching. Oh, yeah, okay, here's another one. Plankton? Hey, Plankton?
Well, hello there.
Oh, Plankton from SpongeBob. Oh, man, Plankton, hey.
Excuse you, sir. It's not Plankton from SpongeBob. It's Plankton from the Chum Bucket.
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend. So, Plankton, I'm here from Hubworld podcast. It's a podcast about video games and other things.
Never heard of it.
And so I wanted to see, I'm actually here at the Oscars, the 90th Academy Awards, to try to cast for a new video game movie, because as we all know, all video game movies are terrible. And so I'm looking for the newest star of a video game movie. And I'm wondering if you think you have the star power to hold down a video game movie on your own.
Oh, this could be wonderful. If I was famous, I could do anything.
Oh.
I could snag the Krabby Patty formula. Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
That's exactly what I was hoping for. So if you could quickly just audition right here live for me, if you were in a video game movie or if you were a video game character, how would you do that?
Yeah, sure. I used to be an adventurer like you, till I took an arrow to the knee.
Oh, the classic Skyrim line. Oh,
Yeah.
That's so very good. Have you ever played Skyrim?
I don't know what a Skyrim is.
Oh, that's so funny, Plankton. You're so charming. Thank you. I'm gonna be in touch. I'll have my people call your people. And
Did I get the part?
I think that your audition went swimmingly, sir.
Oh boy.
So I'll be in touch. And thank you. Have a good evening at the Oscars. Go have an Oscar.
Hey, eat my barnacles.
Yes. Thank you. Oh wow, Plankton from SpongeBob. He said it's from the Krusty Krab, but I've never watched a cartoon called the Chum Bucket. So anyways. Oh, okay. Here's another one. This one is probably actually. I'm a little intimidated, but I'm gonna need, much like a Dragon Ball Z Spirit Bomb, I'm gonna need your encouragement at home retroactively once you hear this, listeners, to give me some encouragement to go talk to this person. Okay. Bane? Is it Bane? Is it Mr. Bane? Hello?
Hello.
Bane? Hi. Bane? Mr. Bane? Dr. Bane?
You may call me the Bane.
Oh, the Bane. Thank you. Big fan. Love Batman. Love those that series. So here I am. I'm here. My name is Daniel from Hubworld podcast. It's a podcast about video games and backbreaking techniques. And so I'm here at the 90th Academy Awards, the Oscars, and I'm trying to recruit new actors for a video game film project because, as you know, all video game movies are just like garbage. They're trash. And so I'm looking for the newest star. So would you mind, would that be something that you're interested in?
I suppose I could give it a try.
Great, awesome. So if you want to just live right here on the red carpet audition for me, if you were a video game character or if you were in a video game, what do you think that would be whenever you're ready?
All right, let's give it a shot. I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small, and with the sweat of your brow, Rapture can become your city as well.
Wow, I'm transfixed right now. I'm inspired, and I have this odd taste of seafood in my mouth. So I really appreciate that so much. The Bane?
Yes, the Bane.
I love that classic speech from BioShock. That was very appropriate, sir. So thank you.
You're welcome.
My people will be in touch with your people. I'm sure you've got people.
Well, yes, I have minions.
Oh, okay. My people will be in touch of your million minions, and cool. I'll let you know. Thank you, the Bane. Enjoy your time at the Academy Awards.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay. That was Bane from Batman, and he's a pretty big fella. Speaking of pretty big fella, hey Arnold, Governor.
Yes,
Governor?
what do you want?
Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm so excited to meet you. My name is Daniel from Hubworld podcast. It's a podcast.
Oh, yes, I love Hubworld.
Oh, wow. That honestly means so much to me, Mr. Terminator.
You're very welcome. It's the greatest.
So you are obviously one of the best actors in the world, and this is why I feel very privileged and honored to ask you this question. I'm actually here at the 90th Academy Awards to recruit actors for a new video game movie, because as you know, all video game movies are straight from the fires of hell and are terrible. So
Right.
would you be interested in kind of revitalizing what a video game movie can be starring you?
I could give it a try.
Oh, that's actually exactly why I'm here. I would love to have a live audition for you. So if you were in a video game, or you wanted to be in a video game movie, like, tell me what that would mean for you. How would you do that?
It would have to be my favorite video game, Oregon Trail.
Oh yes, the classic.
And if I had to pick a line, you have died of dysentery.
I didn't mean to laugh. That was actually very effective.
What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at all of those people who are weak enough to die from dysentery. Isn't that right, Mr. Schwarzenegger?
It's very true.
Yes. So
Very true.
that actually, I will keep that in mind if we need to do an Oregon Trail adaptation and we need a narrator. I think you're going to be locked in. I'll have my people call your people. Thank you so much, Arnold, Mr. Schwarzenegger, Terminator, Mr. Freeze.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I hope you can chill tonight at the 90th Academy Awards.
Everybody freeze.
Oh, see, there we go. That's what I wanted. I'm a Batman fan in real life, so I appreciated that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger, everyone. And classic, been around for a long time, has done a lot of really magical things. And speaking of someone who's been around for a long time and done a lot of really magical things, Gandalf?
Yes, hello.
Mr. Gandalf? Gandalf?
Bilbo Baggins. Is that you?
Hey, Gandalf. I am so glad to meet you here on the red carpet of the 90th Oscars Awards. And I'm here. My name is Daniel from Hubworld podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a podcast about video games and pop culture and various forms of wizardry. And I'm here trying to recruit for a video game film project that I'm trying to make, because as you know, all video game movies generally shall not pass. Am I right? So, anyways, I was trying to see if you would be interested in auditioning right now for a video game movie. If you were going to be in a video game movie, which tell me some of your video game knowledge. Can you hit me with some iconic performances?
I will do my best. Do a barrel roll. Use the most to get through.
Oh, that is a perfect Star Fox 64 reference. I figured you would be someone who knew the classics such as those. So, Gandalf, I will be in touch. I will send a raven. Wait, that's not what you do in that universe, but I'll figure out another way to get to you. And I really appreciate your time. Have a good evening at the 90th Academy Awards. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gandalf.
Thank you.
That was Gandalf, everyone. Gandalf the Grey. I think he's gone back because we all know Gandalf the Grey is cooler. So I think, let's see. Okay, everyone is looking down. They're pointing their cameras down. I can't quite see. I'm trying to look over some people.
Down here, you imbecile.
Oh, wow. Is that Stewie Griffin?
Yes. Hello there.
Oh, my goodness. Stewie Griffin. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm from Hubworld Podcast. I don't know if podcasts have made it into your entertainment rotation or not these days.
Oh, we're way past that now, Daniel.
Oh, really, Stewie?
Yes.
Well, that's good. So I'm here recruiting for... I'm sure you've always wanted to be in a movie, Stewie. I think that sounds like right up your alley.
Oh, I could certainly give it a try.
So would you mind... Because we're going to do a video game movie because we need to take back video game movies from the clutches of destruction.
Yes.
Would you mind just auditioning for me right here? Just telling me and showing me, your best video game performance and like what you could add and contribute to this project.
Well, I could certainly try a line.
Yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Ooh, okay. The cake is a lie. How'd I do?
That was very good. You've played some Portal, and I really believed in my heart that the cake was real until right now, and so.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Dewey. I will have my people be in touch with your people. Maybe with Brian. I don't know.
Oh yes, would you have them called Brian?
I will do that. Thank you so much, Dewey. Enjoy your time here at the Oscar Awards.
Oh, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, same to you. Wow, everyone. Wow, so much. I think honestly, I have some good lines from these all very real celebrities and not fictional characters that can go into our movie project. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording now and run away before I get arrested for trespassing. All right, I'll see you next week on Hubworld. Remember, it's dangerous to go alone. Take me for now. Bye.
Wow, that was amazing.
Right? Like, I mean, it was...
I cannot believe that you got all those interviews.
Yeah, I know. I really, I watched YouTube. You know how there's some YouTube videos of people that just like crash like VIP events?
Right.
And so I tried...
You took notes, huh?
I took notes. I tried to follow all of those things. And I got in there. And I couldn't believe, honestly, the cast of people that
what a star-studded event.
I know. So, I mean, like... we'll have to try to see how we can develop this project because, like, a couple of those characters were animated, and I'm not exactly sure.
That does complicate things.
Yeah, how we're gonna be able to incorporate that in a way that doesn't look terrible. You know.
Right. We'll get there.
Yeah, but that was my side quest. That was my assignment. That's why I wasn't here last week. So sorry, everyone.
I would say that was worth a missed week.
Hopefully so. I still try to get some content.
What? Now that we're back. Welcome to Hubworld,
Hey!
The podcast about video games, pop culture, and the year that Hubworld finally wins an Oscar.
Yes.
This was not our year. We did not snag one this time.
No.
They said it was something about our business still being in its infancy, and also the fact that we aren't a movie.
Yeah, at least not yet.
Right. So now all we have to do is make a Hubworld movie.
Yeah, so that was part of my objective,
right?
As well to like help us get more recognition and to help our podcast be a movie because I don't know how many podcasts have ever been movies, honestly.
I don't know. It's about to be one.
That's right. That's exactly right. But in the meantime, Carter. Do you know how in the past episodes we have talked about how Nintendo is having like the best news year of like any video game year?
Heck yeah.
Well, they're just continuing to bring that heat. There was a Nintendo Direct this week.
That's right. And what a direct it was.
Yeah, they really kind of brought it again. I mean, I did not expect how much they were going to talk about. I think that I saw that they were going
same.
to talk about Mario DLC and Mario Tennis Aces, and I just figured it'd probably be a lot of Mario related stuff and maybe some 3DS stuff.
And see, like I was already not only was I like that's all they're going to talk about, but I was already pretty excited about what they were going to talk about. Like I love me some Mario Tennis.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was pretty hyped already.
Yeah.
And then they said, Carter, just stop and watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's break down some of the best announcements and kind of news items from this Nintendo Direct. Is there one in particular that you were the most excited about?
Alternatively, I also just have the list of games that were noteworthy to me that we could just do like a quick rundown for those that did not see the Direct.
That
and then we could go a little more in depth. So they started off with some 3DS stuff, which is already kind of I don't know. We're in kind of a weird space where Switch is kind of filling some of the whole of the handheld market.
Definitely.
And so it's like, there's still a huge market for the 3DS, but it's weird that they are, releasing two portable games at the same time,
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So for 3DS, we get WarioWare Gold, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, which was a fantastic game, by the way. I don't have a 3DS, but I love Mario and Luigi RPG.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Detective Pikachu.
Hey, not starring Ryan Reynolds in this game
That's
version,
right? We've got Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Then on the Switch, we've got more info on Kirby. We've got Okami HD, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We got a little more info on the greatest video game name ever, Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of Dark Souls Remaster. Did hear more finally about Mario Tennis Aces. We got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the Switch, which did you ever play that?
No, but I heard it was amazing.
I heard really good things. Yeah. Undertale on Switch. We're getting Crash on Switch.
Yeah.
We are getting South Park on Switch.
Yeah.
And finally, a new Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Which they did not show very much of. It was like the lightest.
Right. It was very much a
announcement.
CG teaser.
But I'm sure all of that info is coming at E3, which is not very far away from right now.
True. Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, that's a lot. That is a whole chunk of stuff.
That's a full Direct.
Yeah, totally. I will tell you also one of the things I'm most excited about is the announcement of the Dark Souls amiibo. I think it's like the
like the Praise the Sun,
Solaire, the knight that is in the Praise the Sun pose. I don't typically
pretty wonderful.
do amiibos, but that one might have to show up.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So that was your most excited. That was what you're most excited for.
That's probably my honorable mention, I would say.
Okay,
but yeah, I mean,
I think they should have saved that for E3, but that's
yeah,
just
totally.
Me.
So my most exciting thing from this actually is Okami HD.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that.
I've never played it, but every person who's ever reviewed it ever has said that it is basically Zelda, but like in cell shaded kind of coolness. And so like I don't know why I haven't gotten it to this point. It's been on a bunch of stuff. It's been on like the Wii. It's been on. I think it's on PlayStation 4 now.
Right.
And Xbox One, and so like it's been around, but I've just never gotten to it. And I didn't know it was coming to Switch, but I think maybe, I don't know. This is totally the one I'm gonna try to play.
Honestly, one of the coolest things about the Switch to me is that because of the nature of the fact that you can also play it anywhere, it's making me want to get games that I probably wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever, said I'm not going to get Okami. Like I've heard a lot of good things about it. There's always been other games, but when they take a game that you've been eyeing and then say, "Oh, also you can play this anywhere," it makes me want to get it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I'm the same exact way. And I think that I'm really glad that they are leaning into that. And I think it's kind of a circle, right? Where like I think Nintendo wanted to have this enthusiasm to say this is the thing you can do, but then like it needed to sell. It sold.
Right.
So now publishers and developers are like, oh, let's get on some of this money. And so that's coming back around to continue to fulfill that initial promise of you can play these games everywhere. So I'm glad that that's what has happened and that we're not in an alternate universe where the Switch is a flop. Because otherwise, like, this is just like, I mean, from the beginning of this year, kind of like, again, almost exactly like we've talked about before, there's so many games now, and a lot of them are games that have been out on other things, but they've just continued to announce that like it really makes the Switch just like the best possible console to own, honestly.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
If they can ever figure out how to do online in a way that's good, then that'll be something else.
We'll get there.
But yeah, was there anything else that
so obviously Smash is a big deal. I feel like I've actually kind of had an interesting history with Smash because the GameCube was my first console actually that I actually owned, and you know, I fell in love with Super Smash Bros. Melee, played it like hundreds of hours with my brothers. It was wonderful. Yes. And then I feel like the Wii was actually the console that I skipped because I was more into like my PS3 and PS4 after that. And then I kind of didn't get back on the Nintendo wagon until Wii U Switch. And so when I kind of jumped back into Smash Brothers, like Smash Brawl and Smash Wii U put me off a little bit, not for, you know, anything against them, but because they had added so many features and in some ways complicated things to where it didn't really feel like the simple Smash that Melee was. Yeah. Also, it felt a lot different. It was a little floatier. It wasn't as fast paced as Melee. And so those games didn't really do it for me. And I feel like now because I'm owning the console, I'm here for the release. I feel like I could take this opportunity to kind of jump back in and get back into Smash. So I'm really excited for that.
That's super interesting. And I don't think we've ever talked about this, but and how we are extremely similar in this way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I had an N64, but I never had Smash on 64. And so the first one that I ever got was Melee, and you played it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. Yeah. And
it's so good.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like I even as a child, middle school, whenever the GameCube was out, I was even following the here's these secret ways to get Sonic into your game. I was so into that. I loved Melee. Yeah. And then when Brawl came out, not enough people talk about this, and some people even told me that I'm wrong, and I'm totally not. And I'm glad that you have validated this. Yeah. Is that Brawl came out and it felt just wrong in comparison. It just did not feel the same at all.
It's not as tight or crisp.
No, it's not. And so I really bounced off of Brawl hard. Yeah. Even though all of my friends that I played it with in college did not, and they got really good at it. Yeah. It's kind of the same way I feel about Mario Kart Double Dash, is that Brawl is the Double Dash of that series to me, in which I thought it felt horrible compared to the others, but then, just never adjusted to the difference in the ways that my friends did. And so I just got, no pun intended, smashed every time I ever tried to play.
Nice.
Nice. But then I did get back on with the Wii U version, which I thought brought it back a little bit more towards Melee in the way it felt. But yeah, so we'll see how this one does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there will be a whole bunch of new characters. We got one of the Inklings. Yeah. We got Breath of the Wild Link, which is pretty awesome. And what I'm excited for is I don't think that's just going to be a skin. I feel like Breath of the Wild, because of the nature of that game, I feel like they can make a new character with different moves based on Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree.
So that's really exciting.
And especially how they've done that in the past, where they've had Wind Waker Link and Ocarina Link. Yeah. And
I've heard some tricklings of rumors of maybe a Crash appearance.
Well, see, especially now that Crash is also coming to everything. It's
exactly.
coming to Switch.
Now that it's on Switch, there's some hope. I think he can make. I feel like he's the perfect Smash character.
Oh, totally. I mean, just like how Sonic was good, and all of these 90s character action stars could totally be in Smash, no problem.
They should bring in Spyro too. That'd be awesome.
That would be wild. I know that they're remastering Spyro, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Well, if they do bring in Spyro, I hope it's original Spyro, not Skylander Spyro. That kind of Looks like a failed science experiment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways,
that
we'll
one does
see.
look strange.
One other announcement that I also, well, not an announcement. I also was super excited for Mario Tennis Aces, like I mentioned before.
Right.
Also, kind of for a similar reason, because I played the heck out of Mario Power Tennis on the GameCube.
Uh-huh.
That game is so great. Like it's super underrated in the Mario sports world.
Yeah.
There was a Mario Tennis on N64, which was also fun. It was a lot more simplified, obviously, very, very difficult. And then Mario Tennis on GameCube was just super fun, super goofy.
Yeah.
Then apparently one came out on Wii U that I never played, but apparently was pretty awful.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
And so I hope that they can rectify that with this, because based on the Direct, it seems really interesting. Like, I'm glad that they didn't go with just a kind of Mario Sports, like, hey, now you can throw fireballs, not something super over the top. They kind of have made it like a deeper system, and like now you can break rackets and defend against your racket being broken and fill up meters and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool approach, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I did not play that one on Wii U as well, but Mario Tennis as a franchise is like very, very good, I think.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can kind of just get back on track. I mean, every franchise has their double dash. So,
True.
this will get back on track. I'm very excited about that as well. Another game that I have been waiting to play in anticipation of it coming to Switch, because I've looked at it and I've said there's no reason that this shouldn't already be on Switch, is Little Nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's which Little Nightmares is this side-scrolling, kind of like an Inside or a Limbo, where you're running to the right and the world around you is really creepy and and this one actually does have an emphasis on horror, which I've heard is really good. I've heard that it feels good. I've heard that it has a cool story, and so I'm like really, really excited for that, because that's something that I would have already played, but have intentionally been waiting for it to come to the Switch. So I'm really excited for that. And then also there's a game that I have played, so I probably won't pick it up again, but is always very easy to recommend, is Undertale.
Oh, see, I have not played that. And again, the same thing, like it came out on PS4. I just haven't picked it up yet. And now that it's on Switch, I'm so much more inclined to finally pick it up, because I've heard great things. Yeah,
and it's kind of a perfect Switch game, because it's not a game that like if you play it on the big screen that it's like, oh wow, it's intentionally very like classic graphics, and it has. So here's my thing with Undertale, is that it has one of the best stories I've ever seen in a game.
So I've heard,
and some of the best writing, and it has really good music, and it's like it's a very unique experience. Some of the gameplay didn't quite do it for me, because to not talk too much about this, as far as like spoilery stuff goes,
right?
A big mechanic of the game is like kind of a bullet hell situation, where like you are like there's a square when you're in battle, and you're in the middle, you're a heart in the middle, and you're trying to dodge all these pixels that are coming at you.
Right.
And it was not always the like tightest feeling, like for that, like for those kind of games that you have to be so precise.
Right.
And it wasn't necessarily that. So like some of that kind of got frustrating, especially as the game progressed. But like I was able to absolutely push through all of any of that frustration because of how good the characters and the writing and the story and the music was. Like, and it was something that I wanted to know more as I was going.
Right. That's fantastic.
And so, yeah, it's really good. And like a lot of replay value. There are 2.5 drastically different playthroughs that you can do.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. And, so it's quite a little thing, and I'm sure it'll probably be cheap. I think it's only ever been like $15 maybe, or $10.
I think so, yeah.
So that one's one I can just super highly recommend.
Sweet.
For the Switch. Yeah, so I was excited to see that.
Awesome.
And had no idea. I mean, because like I know that I guess I don't know when it was, but they had this. I think it was last summer, maybe, like after E3, and they had their like Nindies Nintendo Direct.
Yeah. Right.
And like they had the graphic of like all of these different like games or developers, like all on this one screenshot. And I don't remember Undertale being on that, because like a lot of these I remember being the like as coming out at some point, but not Undertale. So I thought that was a pretty cool surprise.
Yeah, it's a fun surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else on that list?
Let's see. South Park coming onto that one. I know that you've played that. And
Yeah, I have played
like to
that.
hear more of your thoughts about it at some point, but that's coming out. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. It looks like it's a sequel to No More Heroes, which I never played, but I heard was really cool, and it has an incredible art style.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's coming. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else I saw. I don't think so. I think that's basically it for as far as things that I was really excited for.
Well, it's a pretty impressive direct from them. We're getting into the season where they could save stuff for E3 if they wanted to, but they're deciding. And I mean, what's perfect about the Nintendo formula is that a lot of these announcements are perfect for something like a direct. You know what I mean? Like all of the not remasters, but Switch ports, which there's going to be a lot of that for Switch. Yeah. Because, like you said, a lot of developers and publishers are saying, okay, look what we can do now. And so the direct is a perfect space for an announcement like that. That's significant enough to make an awesome direct, but then they can free up space for bigger announcements at E3.
Yeah, which makes you wonder, like, what is their E3 going to be?
Right.
I mean, like, I fully suspect we're going to see more about Metroid.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Metroid Prime 4, I guess.
Yep.
I would love to see some more about Pokemon.
I think surely there will be. And I mean, again, like you're saying, because they've announced all this other stuff in the direct, I feel like it's more likely that stuff like that could be showing up at E3.
Right. And then I think obviously too, they're going to do a big deep dive into Smash.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe it's coming out in 2018.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of one of my, I don't know if we talked about this, but I think that was probably my biggest Nintendo prediction, but I didn't predict that it would be new. I just figured they would have to at least port over the
I thought that
one.
was going to happen too, especially because, it wasn't that long ago. It doesn't feel like that it came out on Wii U. And because they also have ported over Mario Kart and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's exciting. It's coming out this year. That definitely means that they'll have a lot to show at E3.
Yeah, which is just always exciting.
I can't believe we're talking about E3. It gets me so excited.
I know.
Honestly, my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, it
like
really
when people
is.
ask me what my favorite holiday is, it's E3.
It's E3. Yeah. Maybe I don't think it's possible this year, but hey, all of you listeners, if you want to help support us and make our dreams come true, if this podcast gets big enough, we could go to E3 probably next year.
Send Hubworld to E3.
Hashtag send Hubworld to E3. Please, let's get that movement going. If you have any love for us in your hearts, this is me directly telling you. This is not a bit. This is not a segment on Hubworld. This is a very heartfelt plea. But anyways,
we can interview more celebrities.
We can interview more celebrities. We could actually have a live on the show floor Hubworld podcast.
Gosh. Even though it would be like video game celebrities that nobody knows about. We can interview Troy Baker and then he can do all the impressions.
Yeah, so we could do that again. Yeah, and have Troy and
Nolan North.
Ashley Johnson and Nolan North. And okay, I'm getting too hyped about a thing that like isn't happening. So let's move on. Anyways, hashtag send Hubworld to E3 2019.
Well, now that we've talked about all the games that are coming out in the future, Daniel, have you been playing any video games that have come out in the past?
I think so.
I don't know about you, but I think I nailed that segue.
Done. Got him. No more segues because that's the last one forever.
Oh, jeez.
I've played one that came out a few weeks ago that I've been really, 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 really excited to talk about on the show.
What's that?
It's called Florence.
Nice.
And Florence is it's a phone game. It's on iOS and Android, I'm pretty sure. So this was the lead developer of Monument Valley, which was another phone game that was at one point featured on House of Cards. And very, very good, unique experience. He left to start this other small company called Mountains.
All right.
And this is their first project. And it's in conjunction with Annapurna Productions, which they are mostly movies, but they have kind of dipped their hands into video games in the past year.
Right.
And so all that to be said, like it is an extremely cinematic thing. It's a story of this girl named Florence and how she falls like into and kind of like into love with this other cellist guy who I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but and it's just their story and it's their relationship, and it's kind of the way that it was billed to me when I read about it was it's 500 Days of Summer, but like a video game.
Oh, cool.
And that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So like, this was a very easy pickup for me, especially, and it's also like $2.99. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to get a cup of coffee this week. I'm going to get Florence, you know? And it's only about 40 to 45 minutes long, but it was extremely affecting. And it has an incredible soundtrack. I almost debated on whether or not I could try to play some right now, but it's kind of a piano, cello, orchestral, like very small feeling orchestral soundtrack. That's it's got a really emotional core to it, obviously because it's telling an emotional story.
Right.
But it's kind of, it's almost a visual novel because like most of it you're just reading and going through, but then it has these interesting gameplay elements, like and some of it's all very simple. Like you're not doing a whole lot when you are playing, but it's still interesting. So like at one point you are brushing your teeth, and so you are using a toothbrush or like running your finger across the screen to like brush your teeth in the morning. And then like when you're at your job, you're trying to match numbers together to like, it's like this really mundane thing to like kind of drive home how mundane the job is. Right. The coolest, and it like gave me a mid shiver once I realized like this is maybe one of the coolest conversation mechanics I've ever seen in a game, even though there's literally no dialogue. So when there's conversations, face-to-face conversations, one person will have like a speech bubble that shows up, but there's nothing in it. It's a blank speech bubble. And so then when it comes to you, your speech bubble is puzzle pieces. And so you have to put the pieces of the puzzle together to like form your speech. Because
that is
and
so
it's like,
cool. And it's still an empty speech bubble, no dialogue.
Still an empty speech bubble. But it's kind of like this whole idea of like, yeah, especially when you're trying to get to know someone, like a conversation can be like a puzzle.
Yeah,
that
is
like,
so cool.
When you're trying to figure that out. And like, as you get to know that person more, there's less puzzle pieces. And so it becomes like easier to put those thoughts together. And so it's like, this is the coolest, most organic way to like convey the feeling of getting to know someone in a video game form, like that I've ever experienced. And so like that by itself was like worth it for me.
That's so cool. What I've seen about it, like I love not the art style, like I guess, the art style or just like the illustration style. Yeah. It kind of makes me think of a lot of like, I don't know, like illustrated storybooks.
Yes.
That
it definitely has that feel to it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And I won't spoil the story. I mean, it's not a traditional love story, which I think is exactly what they say at the front end of 500 Days of Summer. Okay. And if you've seen that movie, you kind of know potentially where this is going to go. But like, I still really highly recommend it for the low price point that it is, and I mean, like generally it's hard for me to recommend something that's like under an hour, but I feel like for a phone game and for at that like super low price, and it tells a good enough story and it conveys feeling in a way that a lot of video games don't.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course with the soundtrack and the art style, like it was a total package that kind of really floored me. Like it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, I'll check this out. And then I sat and played it and didn't stop until it was done. And
that's awesome.
So yeah, that is Florence. And I very highly recommend it. Also, it's very cool because it's got, as we've talked about with Black Panther, like it's got different representation. So like, it's an Asian American woman and I think Indian guy. So like, I mean, it's not your typical, white people
right
doing everything. It's always and everything.
Always a welcome change.
Yeah. So that is Florence, and it is out now, and it's been out for a few weeks.
Right on. Go Florence.
Yeah, I very highly recommend that.
Cool.
And then I also played and beat a game that came out in 2016. As I've been, because even though mostly I play Monster Hunter, I know that I can't always talk about Monster Hunter every single week. So I've been trying to go through. I got an external hard drive a few weeks ago from a PlayStation, and so I've been able to like a lot of these games that I've like had, but then like didn't have time, I didn't have space, and I've
Right.
been trying to like
I
kind of
had to
go
delete.
through my backlog a little bit more now that I have
Yeah.
them available. And I played this game called Virginia, which is another story-driven, dialogueless game that tells the story about two women of color, also actually,
Awesome.
that are in the FBI. I think it's like in the 90s, maybe.
Oh, cool.
And again, there's no dialogue, and so the story can be a little confusing. But essentially, you are tasked with trying to solve a case of a boy who's gone missing, but also you're an internal affairs person, so you're trying to also investigate, the partner that you're working with. That's the premise. Then things get kind of weird. It has a lot of like hallucinatory, like dream sequences, and like you're not quite sure if it's like a supernatural thing happening or not the whole time.
Interesting.
But what I did like about it was the soundtrack was another orchestral soundtrack that was a really stirring score. But the coolest thing that this game does is it has like jump cuts, like in a movie. Like whenever you're watching a movie and then it'll just cut to a different scene.
Yeah, right.
Like this game has that. So like you'll be walking down a hallway and then it'll just jump cut to a different, like you'll be sitting in a diner,
That is
like
pretty
having
cool.
coffee. And like, to me, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's like a cool thing. But then if you think about the fact that like, how did they do that? Because
Yeah, no kidding.
like,
because you have to load stuff.
Yeah, you got to load. And so like, usually in a game, like if it's a cutscene, that's one thing. But like you could literally
Right.
be controlling your character and walking around, and then boom, you are cutting and doing and in something else that you're also interacting with.
Gosh.
And it's like, how did that happen? Like I guess you just load. I still don't really know. I'm sure there's interviews out there, but
Yeah, that's super impressive.
But it was cool because like it really did drive home the feeling of like you're playing through a movie that a lot of games try to do and a lot of games do well. But this one was literally like I'm inside a movie because you never know what's coming next because it
Right.
jump cut you to something else.
That's awesome.
So that was a really effective storytelling device. But again, and I was really with the story for a while and I thought I knew what was happening. Again, it was kind of hard in a game with no dialogue. You just kind of have to make a lot of inferences.
Sure.
But then the last like 10 minutes of the game, like I have no idea what happened at all.
One of
like,
those, huh?
Yeah, and I've even read some stuff about it, and there's like not there's so
no
many
consensus.
interpretations. Yeah, that like there's not like a like this is our like consensus. This is what happened. So it is hard for me a little bit to recommend because of that. I got it on sale for like $2.
Oh, nice.
So like, it's kind of, it was originally like 10 or 15 or something. Like it's one of those where like this, if the story is the main thing that you're trying to convey through gameplay,
Right.
I don't think it necessarily hit the mark because it was so like, what the heck just happened at the end. And it was kind of one of the, I mean, you've watched a movie or you watch a show and you're like, huh? Like that's how that ended,
Right.
So like it was kind of that for me, but it was still.
You kind of watch the movie and you go,
Yeah. yeah, totally. So yeah, I mean, it was cool to experience. I mean, like the art style is extremely unique and distinctive. And it was cool to follow along with what I thought was happening for a while.
Yeah.
And to experience like the jump cuts like that was very cool. But
That's awesome.
It ended in a way that I was like, well, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
See ya.
Okay.
Guess I'll just not play then anymore. Time to delete you back off the website.
Right.
But yeah, so those are two games that I've really played through and beaten, and since we've last had a podcast.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. And then I do want to just continue, and I'm thinking we may have a future segment of like games that people hate, but like you don't.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple of those, and just on that, I've tried to dive back into Mass Effect Andromeda, which I think I've talked about on a previous episode.
Yeah,
I can't remember. So I decided to just go ahead and drop down the difficulty to like the easiest, no challenge difficulty, because like while the gameplay is one of the better like parts of that game, it was still like I don't actually want to struggle. Like
Yeah,
in it
you don't wanna
ever
be punished.
with this. I just want to go through it and know the characters and know the story more than anything else. Now that I kind of generally know the gameplay. But in this case, like, because I have heard some not great stuff about how this game is anyway, but I'm still just enough intrigued to just like want to like see what it is.
Yeah.
You know that I decided to go ahead and do it for this, and that kind of allowed me to get through like one of the first like dungeons, if you will, have it in a quick enough time. And I was still kind of like, I guess like this is definitely trying to be Mass Effect, but like it's like people who have understood what it was and have tried to copy it rather than continue it. Until I left the first planet and got on the ship, like in earnest, like, because so much of like the original Mass Effect games was like cruising around your ship and talking to all your crewmates and getting to know them. And that was part of why those games mean so much to a lot of people, including me. And this is like the first time where I'll talk to 4 or 5 different people, and I was like, okay, like they've got this part, you know, where each conversation was interesting. I wanted to know more about all of the characters that I talked to. And like that has got me a little bit more excited about it than I did. Just to kind of have that, like, really truly get to know your crew, go do side missions where you like really delve into them. Like if that is done well, then like I will enjoy this for sure. And so I got a little bit of excitement from that. And so if you are listening out there and you're kind of a Mass Effect fan, but have like heard everything that's terrible like I have, it's probably cheap enough now. I'm playing it essentially for free. If you have an Xbox, you can do EA access for like $30 a year and play all of their Vault games. And this game is in the Vault. So awesome. It's cheap enough if you're really interested. Like it's slow going at the beginning, drop down the difficulty. So if you want to just see everything that's quote unquote good about it, I'm intrigued. And so I'll probably have more to say about this as we continue to go. But yeah, that's been a positive Mass Effect story that I was not necessarily expecting to have to bring to the table.
That's awesome. Also, speaking of games that are really cheap or free to play right now, we have some other PS Plus games that I feel like are worth a mention. If you, again, games that maybe you haven't played that you might want to dip your toes in. The big ones being Bloodborne and Ratchet and Clank, which are both phenomenal. So in my experience, I have played Ratchet and Clank, and you have played Bloodborne. So we can talk about both of those games.
Yes.
Ratchet and Clank is a fantastic, fantastic game. It is a remake of the original Ratchet and Clank, and it's not a remaster, it's a remake. So it's, completely overhauled. Looks so great. I love the cartoony kind of like Pixar style to it.
That is, yes, it is very Pixar. It is like extremely polished, like for a CGI cartoon.
Yeah. What's crazy is that, so this remake came out with the movie, the Ratchet and Clank movie that they came out with, which apparently was kind of so-so. I didn't see it.
No, I think it's on Netflix.
And there's a lot of meta jokes about like, this is the game based on the movie, based on the game. But what is crazy is that this game is kind of interwoven with cutscenes that are actually scenes from the movie.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. But half the time you can't tell. That is how good the graphics are.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in the cutscenes, I literally will have to be like, is this from the movie or is this just a game cutscene? Because the game graphics are about as good as the movie, looks.
Yeah.
Anyways, but besides that, Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction was in fact, it might have been my first PS3 game, which was also fantastic. I think those are probably the 2 best games in the series because they've come out with a lot of them. Some of them are kind of okay.
Yeah.
And so I've been into Ratchet and Clank since then. And so I loved playing this one through. I highly, highly recommend you get it, especially if you've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, because this being the first one, it is kind of an origin story. It's a perfect time to jump in. It's super fun, casual, it's great.
Yeah, and I've played some. I had it before, but I don't think I got super far. But it was really cool. I mean, it was it looks incredible, and it feels
Yeah.
good. I had never played any other Ratchet and Clank games, I don't believe. Those kind of get well, actually, maybe I did. I don't know. Those and Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper, they all kind of like occupy the same place in my brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's for free for PS Plus now. That is a huge game.
Even if you don't have time to play it, just download it and then play it when you get the chance.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about
Yeah.
PS Plus.
Yes, absolutely. On the complete other side of the gaming spectrum, however.
Yeah, like honestly, if you ask what is the opposite of Ratchet and Clank,
Yeah, it's Bloodborne. So Bloodborne is made by the same team that made Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, I'm pretty sure. Definitely Dark Souls 1.
Right.
And it is one of those games. It is extremely difficult, but extremely rewarding. It is harsh. It's a harsh environment, but it's one of these where you're going through and there's this really like wild story that's told in like the most obtuse way possible through like item descriptions and like some cutscenes and a lot of environmental storytelling. So like you'll be in an area and you can see kind of like, for instance, there's one area where there's these people that are like in stone that were like worshiping, and like that means something. Like and like the implications for what that was are like, it's like horrifying. Like once you kind of get what's happening. And so yeah, it's one of those where like all of the Souls games and Bloodborne, they all do that, and to varying levels of success. I think that Bloodborne has the best story of any of the Souls games. Yeah, and it does dive into, at first it's kind of this like Victorian dark like action thing that like delves slowly into like Lovecraftian horror, just madness and weird looking tentacle creatures and all this kind of stuff. And like I knew that going in, and I was just like, I'm still kind of waiting for this to happen. I don't understand like how this game gets to be that way. And then it does, and you're just like, oh, like I get it. So it's really cool. It's different from the Souls games outside of the story and the setting. All three of the Dark Souls games are very weapon heavy. Like there's lots of loot, lots of different kinds of weapons that you can kind of always gain and always build upon. And get better, like better swords and better gear from beating bosses and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And Bloodborne has some really cool creative weapons, like the modifiable weapons, like basically the switch axe from Monster Hunter.
Yes, it's that. They're called trick weapons. Where so instead of having a wide spectrum of weapons and items to have like in the Souls games, there's like 6 or 7 like trick weapons. And like that's it, and you just use those like the whole time, right? But you get better with them, and you can upgrade them and all that kind of stuff. But it's the same weapon essentially. But they're called trick weapons because yes, like the switch axe in Monster Hunter, they start out as one weapon, and then you can hit a button, and it like transforms into something else. That's like one of my favorites is there's like this standard longsword, that's like not special in any kind of way. But then when you transform that one, you stick it into like a 3 times the size of it blade that's just hanging on your back, and it becomes this 2-handed humongous greatsword. So like you can have the speed of like the regular sword, and then when you're trying to face something huge, you just slip it into your backpack, and then you have this giant sword.
Right.
Or there's one that is a cane. Like you just slap people with this cane, and then when it transforms into a whip.
Did you say a cane that you slap people with?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not talking about Grand Theft Auto?
Turns out this was the Grand Theft Auto sequel that no one knew existed. But yeah, so it's cool stuff like that. And there's some even more different and more wild trick weapons out there. There's awesome. 2 other main differences. Gameplay wise, one, it's a lot faster than most of the Souls games.
Right.
Dark Souls 3 gets a little bit closer to it, but whereas Dark Souls 1 and 2 are very slow, very plodding. You hold your shield up and you kind of take the brunt of the damage, and then you get in and attack when you can, and you're wearing this huge armor. Bloodborne is all about speed. It is about attacking often and being aggressive and dodging quickly. So there's this mechanic in Bloodborne where if you take damage, if you can do enough hits right after you take damage, you can regain all of that health back. So like it really
Huh.
forces you to be aggressive. It has the best dodge mechanic in any action game that has ever been created. Like
Awesome.
it feels it's like pixel perfect. It like the timing on it is great. And you absolutely need it because enemies are coming at you just as fast as well. But then there's also instead of a shield, I think you can have a shield, but I think you have to kind of find it. You carry a gun, like it's like a pistol or a shotgun or something in your other hand. And this is a mechanic I never really got used to, and so I didn't really use it. But I probably could have been a lot better at the game had I gotten better at it. But it's a parry, so like. It's a timing based system that you can use that gun, not necessarily to do a lot of damage, but to like stun the enemies. Like when they're trying to
it's
attack
like right
you.
as somebody's about to attack you. If you get the time just right.
Yeah. And then you can do a lot of damage to them after that. So that's a big time difference than the Souls games. But, but for free, I mean, this is a classic. This is one of the best PlayStation 4 games, period, and will be like for the whole entire generation. It's really incredible that this is now free. It's got good multiplayer that you can call in friends to help, and I think up to like 3 friends, so you can walk around in a posse and just like beat up on everything. I can't recommend Bloodborne highly enough. If you are somebody who likes extraordinarily hard games, and if you like descending into horror setting, then absolutely
descending
go for
into
it.
hell.
And especially if it's free, like you can try it and see if it's your thing, and then if not, there's no risk to you. And if you try it and it is your thing, guess what? Now there's like 3 other classic games that would be right up your alley as well. So
well, Daniel, I believe that might do it for us today.
Yeah, I think so. I think, I appreciate that.
Had a lot of juicy deets.
Yeah, a lot of deets, a lot of game details, and hopefully we have enough to pursue with a potential video game movie project.
Yes, absolutely. And most importantly, send us to E3.
Yes. Hashtag send Hubworld to E3 2019, please.
Hashtag
Please.
this is not a joke.
Definitely not. But again, we're asking out of the love of our hearts because we love you. But also, if you love us, if you can't send us to E3, that's totally fine. We
forgive you.
What you can do for us is to share this podcast, tweet about it, Facebook it, Instagram it, tell it to your video game loving friends. Even if they're like, "What's a podcast? I don't listen to podcasts." This is a good one to start with. Leave us reviews on your iTunes services, on your podcast services. That takes like 30 seconds out of your day, and that helps us a lot. You can follow us on Twitter at HubWorldCast. We're pretty active there. We have a Facebook page that's just HubWorld. You can share that, and we'll update it when we have more episodes coming out. And
that's right.
You can follow us on SoundCloud and all of that good stuff. That really does help us a lot, and we appreciate all of you so far that have followed us and engaged with us and shared it and all of that good stuff. We are having a good time making this podcast, and we hope that you're having an even better time listening to it.
Absolutely. We're back on the grind now, so we'll be bringing you new episodes every week, every Friday. Make sure to keep up with us, stay tuned, and until the next episode and until E3, remember, it's dangerous to go alone.
Take us to E3 in 2019.